Barry. This is Thunderbolts 55. A good issue with a good cover. I picked this out last night because I did part 1 before my break. And now, just before recording this, I saw that the artist is trending on Twitter for saying softcore, I am not a homophobe type of shit. I didn't really want to talk about that, by which I mean I already got 20 cutaways saved last night, and so our topic this issue is something else. In part 1, I likely discussed this bad guy and his creation, Humus Sapien, which is a great name. Humus Sapien was created in 1973 by a fan who entered a character creation contest. Said fan won the contest and was told that his character would appear in Excellent Men. It never did though. I have a theory about that, which I'm not sure is worth getting into. More interesting is that the writer of this issue of Thunderbolts, Fabian Nicieza, also entered the same competition and lost. Shy of 30 years later, Fabian Nicieza remembers this and that the character never appeared. And so he uses him as a bad guy in Thunderbolts. It is good though, because not only is the creator of Humus Sapien credited, he is actively involved with this story. He inked a page in the previous issue, and he was on board making sure that his character was more or less what he envisioned. Here we have Humus Sapien fighting the Thunderbolts, but one of the interesting quirks of Humus Sapien is that he is empowered by the life force of others on the planet. He has laid dormant in a cryogenic tube for years. And now Fister from the Thunderbolts woke him up from his slumber out of curiosity. Over the course of the issue, we do keep cutting to random people dropping dead all over the world. By the end of the issue, at least 2,400 people die from Humus Sapien draining their life force. Or 2,400. I kinda hate people who say 2,400. I only said it because that is how the issue says it. Of the people who die, the only notable one is one of the racial stereotypes introduced in Conquest of Champagne. We will get a new version of this character after this, who is a lot less embarrassing. Sometimes I am guilty of, and I guess we are all guilty of this, we remember comics as being a lot better than they are. I remember this being a solid 10 out of 10, but it is closer to an 8 or a 9. That's not to say that it is shit. It is a good issue, and there are fascinating components of it. But I felt a bit let down by not quite getting to see these Thunderbolts in action against Humus Sapien much. We are going to talk about this team of Thunderbolts and who each of the new members are. I will not be explaining Baron Zero or Fister, as I assume you already know them, and I will not waste time explaining Lightning Lass or Charlie Cole, because they are a Kurt Busey character and a character created by a fan that Kurt Busey screwed over. Instead, the rest of the team appealed to me as a continuity buff and a lover of the obscure D-listers. Unfortunately, most of the pages I turned to didn't have a great prompt for talking about the characters, or even a good shot of them for me to go, and this is Dr. Squiggles, and he comes from Spectator Spider-Man, issue 15. We actually do subplots here which are no good for what I'm talking about. We have Count Gravity here. Next story arc on the book is an epic Count Gravity one. And we also have stuff like Hawkeye in jail, and the Avengers with Atlas Man's girlfriend over here. So we get back to Sapien and the Thunderbolts, and we are going to have to use table scraps for conversation points here. In issue 50 of the series, the previous iteration of the team, the one we all know, they were replaced with a government-backed Thunderbolts team called the Redeemers Project. The team is made up of characters that have some relation to one member of the original Thunderbolts team. First, up top here, we have Smuggler, the guy in the background. He is Atlas Man's kid brother. He was technically created by Kurt Busey, as you saw him in a photo in one panel. But it was Fabian Nicieza who really introduced him as an actual character. He goes on to appear in New Thunderbolts, so I am a bit partial to him. Pink Energy Beam Man. This is a mystery I am spoiling for you here. He is revealed to be Angar the Screamer, who first appeared in Daredevil. A Steve Gerbil character, pretty daft. However, in Avengers Spotlight 28, he began a criminal partnership with Song Girl. Of course, Kurt Busey killed them off in a flashback because he needed to clear the decks and make all the Thunderbolts characters appear to have no relationships or connections to other characters, so he could gaslight the world into thinking that he was giving these characters actual personalities and shit. Angar is back to life as a sound energy entity, and issue 59 is all about him and Song Girl confronting each other again. Next, we have, and I am not joking here when I say we're struggling for clear pictures of the characters. The woman in purple down here, the one that we are seeing from behind, she is the new Beetle, Lila Davis. She wears the big armoured, Hulk-sized Beetle armour. She might be my favourite pick of the lot. She originates from the 90s miniseries Deathly Foes of Spider-Man, which is one that should be recommended reading if you like Thunderbolts. 4 out of 6 of these bad guys, 5 out of 7 if you include have all featured as members of the Thunderbolts at different points. In that ad story, Lila was the team's getaway driver. She was dating Captain Boomerang and then started dating Speed McGee. But all this was to get in with the team because she wanted revenge on their leader, Mark, real name Abe. She wanted revenge for him humiliating her husband who died. They then did a sequel series which wasn't very good, and now she was leading the team in a suit of red armour, and she guns up against Mark, real name Abe, in her new armour. And then her dead husband turned up alive as a cyborg. And they left to be together again. The next issue of Thunderbolts reveals the husband died of cybernetic failure, which is a bit of a Kurt Busey thing today. Tossing away stuff that is in the way of your story. But maybe hypocritically, I find it okay when Fabian Nicieza does it here. Maybe because there is so much other backstory that he is running with. This woman up here, she is the last one we need today. She is meant to be Moonstump's corresponding equal on this team. And unlike the others, she is a new character. She was introduced in issue 48. There's no apparent connection to Moonstump, besides the costume, name, and them both having nice bums. I get the feeling maybe if Kurt Busey hadn't wasted Neferman, he would have been this character. Fabio Nicieza does actually reintroduce Neferman in 5 issues' time. So we have a nice set of characters that maybe only appeal to me because they are weirdos nobody else really remembers. And they get to stop Humus Sapien here. This team I like. I wish we got to see a lot more of them. The new Moonstump, for example. I think she never got the ending she deserved. We find out her backstory next issue. And it's never sat well with me that there's no closure to it. The next story is our big mega Count Gravity one. He has shown up at Thunderbolts Mountain, wanting revenge on the team for past defeats, but he has found this new version of the team. Next issue is brilliant. We get to see this new squad fight Count Gravity, and the whole Count Gravity story here is really great. I guess I didn't talk about it too much because I was on my Andy book kick, trying to clue you into who all these new unrecognisable characters are. I like writers taking art characters and going, hey, let's use them, instead of creating 4 new characters because they cannot be bothered to research and find a character like Lila Davis who has a strong link to one of the book's central stars, or Atlas Man's kid brother, who was seen for one panel in a Kurt Busey issue. Despite mentioning him several times, I haven't even had a chance to use the Kurt Busey cutaway. This two-parter is great in some ways, and simply only good in others. It's certainly a 7 thumbs up issue.